Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rachel Boyd, and welcome to the Hive Live for Real Estate Agents, where we strive to help real estate agents build real business with clarity, confidence, and consistency. We aren't here to chase trends. Our goal is to collaborate with skilled agents and top producers and industry experts to bring you the tools and strategies you need to help.
Tell her I'm begging. Tell her I'll give her all my blueberry jam.
I'm on a Zoom
If
call.
you're watching the replay of this session on YouTube, we would love to invite you to join us live every Thursday at 2. You can register for the session by going to thereagenthive.com. Again, that's thereagenthive.com. And remember that when you join us live, you get access to the exclusive Hive Live Q&A session with our host. And we are so excited because today we have Aimee McBrier with us. Aimee lives and breathes what she has dubbed real estate with roots. She's a fifth generation Newnan, Georgia native, and she brings over a decade of experience serving Coweta County and the greater metro Atlanta area, earning her reputation as one of Georgia's top producing agents. Her deep local knowledge, strong relationships, and results-driven approach make her a trusted guide for buyers, sellers, and investors alike. Aimee's connection to the community, however, goes beyond real estate. She's a proud wife to a local firefighter and a busy mom of 3. You'll find her cheering on her son at football games or supporting her daughters in competitive horseback riding, which also makes her a go-to resource looking for land or farm. With the communication and the process is stress-free. And on a personal note, Aimee is someone Josh and I trust deeply. She was actually our realtor before we got into real estate ourselves. Aimee doesn't just help people buy and sell homes, she helps them find where they truly belong. And we are so excited to have you with us today, Aimee. We're going to do this as kind of an interview style, so we can ask some questions. If anybody has questions, you can drop them in the chat. Josh, if you don't mind, just keep an eye on the chat. And yeah, we'll kind of go from there. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. So you've built an incredible business rooted in relationships. Can you take us back to the very beginning and share how you got started in real estate?
Well, I went to college at West Georgia and then I graduated and thought, what am I going to do with myself now? I'd been in sales. I was in sales for my whole college time that I was in college. So I worked for, which was PowerTel, which is now T-Mobile. Put myself through school selling cell phones on South Fulton Parkway. Whoop, whoop. So I was in sales, did that, put myself through college. And then when I got out, a girlfriend of mine was like, what are you going to do now? And I was like, I don't know. I guess wing it, figure it out. And she said, why don't you go get your real estate license? You can work underneath me and learn all of the contract basis here in the neighborhood, and then go to real estate school, get your license. So that's what I did. And then I actually went to school. I didn't go do an online course, which I felt at the time was very, very beneficial. But back then they didn't have online courses. Like our contracts were still carbon copied. Like you wrote the contract out, you gave the client like the carbon copy of it. So true old school. And so did that, went to school. It took me 6 times to pass the dang exam. I almost gave up, and then here I am 22 years later. So I've seen just about everything that there is to see in real estate over the past 22 years. It's been wild.
I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's so interesting to see, how far, I guess, real estate has come from the carbon copies to now you literally just like send an email and people can just like click and sign. So super interesting. And I love kind of the transition of how that works.
Yes.
So we mentioned that you are a busy mom, and
Yep.
I know that it even talks about making sure that we stay on track today because you got school pickup here in just a little while.
Yep.
So as far as being a mom, football mom, horse shows, local events, how does that translate into business, and how do you feel you do it without being too salesy?
I mean, so I'm one of those realtors. I've never worn a name badge. I've never put anything on my car. I've never walked, breathed, and talked real estate when I'm with my kids. And because I want them to know that they still have my undivided attention when I'm not at work. Now, do I advertise everywhere I go? Absolutely. But my face isn't everywhere I go. People know me from my name and my connection here with real estate, town, the band world, the football world, the basketball world, baseball, but I've been consistent with sponsoring over all these years. And so even if I get one or two sales out of it a year, I've more than paid for my sponsorship. But it's more of me giving back my time to where I'm at. And it's more helping the kids on the football team, or, sponsoring the girls horse show events, or giving back to the band, especially like after the tornado that we had. So, it's more of a name recognition, I think, which I have branded myself instead of the company that I work for.
Something I wanted to pick up on there too and just mention is when we first met you. Oh my gosh, Aimee, I don't want to say how long ago it was because that'll date us. But when I was getting ready to buy my first house that I ever bought, Aimee helped us buy that one and many since then. But when John Eldewan mentioned, hey, John, I'm going to buy a house. Who would I buy a house from? He goes, you need to go get a house from Aimee. What was interesting is that wasn't enough. Like your typical consumer, I went and asked around, but the stories were not Aimee is the best real estate agent. It was, let me tell you what Aimee did for me. And I think that's something significant. And that's one of the reasons, and I'm just going to ask you to maybe kind of talk about it, because time and time again, when people in our community bring up, you mentioned your name is like your brand. I don't know if you worded it that way, but like in a world where, Aimee, we're all trying to do digital marketing and all this other stuff, you have legit built a crazy business, and somehow everyone in town goes, that's Aimee McBrier. Let me tell you what she did for me. And you kind of alluded to it, but do you mind just going down that path a little bit? Like, how did you, if we're trying to build trust, how in the world did you do that at a mass scale? Because it's crazy efficient.
Well, I mean, I think for me, I am not tech savvy. Like, I don't enjoy cell phones. I'm not a texter. I'm a pick up the phone and call me, because you can tell somebody's and who's being intentional and who's not by the tone of their voice. And I feel like in a text message, you get so misconstrued. And here's the thing, it's like everybody's saying, oh, we need these videos, we need all these videos. Nobody cares what the person looks like. Words are cheap, right? That's something my grandmother, my Nana always said, where words are cheap, show me who you are. And I think that's something that I've always built on is show me what are you going to do for me, not just a bunch of fluff. Like when, for example, when I go on a listing appointment, I take one piece of paper with me, and that's the tax information sheet. I don't take a bunch of paperwork. I don't take a bunch of fluff, because I'm there to interview their house. I can't price a house before I walk in the door, because I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what it needs. I don't know what flooring the bathroom has in it. And I think for me, I make it to where I don't come across as abrasive. I may go on a listing appointment for the first time and I've never met you, and I might have a ball cap on and no makeup on, because that's how I got out of the house that morning. And so I'm a real, what you see is what you get kind of person. And I think that's kind of what I built my business on, which gains trust, you know. And then for me, it's never been all about the commission. It's not about the dollar. It's what can you give back? Can you give back a home warranty, or can you cut your commission by $1,000 to help go towards an appraisal gap, or something's going on with the inspection? I mean, I kind of compare my commission to what the average person makes. Most of the time, $100,000 in a year that we can make is more than the average blue collar worker in a year. So if you can give back, it just makes things come back around to you. And so that's just kind of what I'm not greedy. I'll give everything that I can, not just to make a deal work, but also like to be a good person.
I can speak to that. Rachel and I actually made a mistake when we bought the house that we live in that we just sold, but like we screwed up, guys. I didn't know you couldn't just bring the refrigerator with you. Can we just pause, like just have a funny moment there? So we just took it, and we didn't mark it right, and the I guess the buyer of our old house figured it out, and I was panicking, and Amy's like, it's okay. And Aimee actually like sacrificed some of her commission to pretty much buy the refrigerator. So pause and just simply say she practices what she preaches, because there's a refrigerator at her house, and I can vouch for that. Rachel, I talked a lot. I'm turning it back over.
No, you're good. It was funny because that's the story that I like to tell people too. Like, yep, we accidentally took a refrigerator, but our real estate agent was great and she got a replacement and ended up making it work. So I was actually going to go there as well. Yeah. So if and this probably plays into your real estate with roots, but if there was a new agent who wanted to start leveraging their sphere better this week, the people that they know, their sphere of influence, what do you think are the first things that they can start doing?
Well, I mean, I think it's you got to work who you know, who you surround yourself with, you know, who cuts your hair, who does your nails, you know, who is your kid's coach, band director. You know, I mean, you just got to you got to go to your little circle first and then branch off, you know, out from there. You know, somebody that you haven't talked to since 3 years ago, you send them a note, they're going to be like, why are you calling me? What do you need from me? Whereas if you reach out to your like constant little circle, it tends to be more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
The
Go ahead.
just out of curiosity, like, do you run a CRM, or is like your CRM just you're like, no, I just talk to everybody?
No, I mean like my CR, I mean I just, you know, I'm just old school. Like I don't put a lot of fluff in it. I do my everyday data on true numbers don't lie, right? Numbers never lie. And so I do a price per square foot according to the part of the county that you're in. Okay, then you got to take my goal is what does it cost to truly rebuild that house? What does the land truly cost? You know, what is the value of that land? Because I also build houses. So my mindset is always on a construction standpoint of what does something cost? What can you get back out of it? Right. And so then you got to take your comparables to what has sold around you, price per square foot. Does this have a pool? Does this have a fence? You know, hardwood floors versus tile, you know, and then you kind of back into your number of where you feel like a property is worth or what it should be worth.
Hmm.
I'm just old school.
I love it. I love it.
And it
Rachel,
works.
well, it does work. If when you to cycle back to, you talked about your first circle, which are people that you know, people I would, you know, if I was going to put it in like the catchy phrase, people that know, like, and trust you already, because like you know them. It's like your my nail person and my hair person. When you're choosing, like you mentioned, like you sponsor events and things like that, like, is it just, this is where my kids are, this is where I'm going to
Mhm.
be?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, sure, some of the people over at East Coweta High School on the other side of the tracks, you know, right, the majority of the people over there, for the most part, do know me, but I'm going to put my money where I'm at. You know, I'm at Newnan High School. I'm at Smoky Road Middle. Um, you know, I know a lot of the Evans people, but like, you know, Bass or Lee or Northgate, I mean, that's just not where my circle is. And so I just more so focus on my circle where my kids are. You know, it's always you focus on more where you live because that's your circle.
I think that that's huge too. And that, Rachel, I'm gonna quit talking. I just really want to point this out, Aimee. It's why I'm so glad you're here. Because like, even just the last few days, we attended an amazing conference. But it's like, in a world where everyone else is trying to focus on like something I haven't heard you say. Not once today have you said ROI, or where's my highest return on investment. Like, what school has the biggest school that I might have the most people see my sign? Like, your strategy in some ways is like counterintuitive to today's common word, yet we've watched you like build a mega business. Like, Rachel and I literally all the time go, I want to be like Aimee McBrier. How does she do it? Yet this is where my kids are, so this is where my money is, this is where my town is. I know, being the high school band director in that town, what's something else that you did that everyone knows you did, yet no one knows you did, was, you know, you called me on the phone and said, hey, who needs an instrument? What do I need to do? Who needs this? And, people all over town just know, that you're the one. And I think that's such an important voice because not a lot of people are like that these days. And it's that whole Zig Ziglar thing. If you help enough people get what they want. But I get the impression, I'll say this, that you don't do it because you want notoriety. I think you do it because you genuinely care and people see that.
Well, and I mean, I do care. It's kind of like, for example, I'll take the Newnan High School football team. As well as I do, the majority of those kids don't go home to a meal at night after they've practiced all week long or all day long, or they don't go to a meal. And so when I first became a part of the board last year, because Jones is on the team now, I made it my mission to build a nutrition program for those kids. And now every kid after weight training has a meal after. And some kind of something gets in their body. Because how can you expect a kid to perform if they have nothing to perform on, right? So it was my mission to raise $20,000 by the start of the school year. And we did it because, you give back to where you are. And so, and it worked because over the course of the all season, the boys gained 455 pounds over the course of the varsity team. I mean, and that's huge, but you can tell that little bit of money, you see results from that, but it's just making sure the kids are taken care of. You take care of your circle where you live first. Like, nobody knows me in Atlanta. Why am I going to go sponsor somebody up there? You sponsor where you're at and you build off of that. And I've always just done that.
And I think that's super, like, it's super natural too, just because like it makes total sense. There are people out there that are like, let me go get a billboard. Where can I get, how can I get the most people to see these signs? But I think it is super natural for us to go where our kids are or our family is, or organizations that we've been involved in, like Union Band or Northgate Band or whoever. So like it makes a lot of sense to like stick to kind of what you're good at. And Frank Warren, who is one of our real agents, he did a presentation not too long ago. I mean, he was on like the board of education for his town and stuff. And so he was saying too, like, I get involved in my community and I do things that are interesting. So I mean, that makes a lot of sense. How do you feel that you stay consistent when maybe business slows down during those slow times a year, or when the market is down or whatever?
I don't. I mean, just to be honest, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, everybody, I hear so many agents say, I've got a time block. I've got a time block. Well, when you have 3 kids and you never know who's about to call or who's about to tell you something or where you need to go, like, honestly, I am less productive time blocking than I am just winging it. Sure, I have a calendar. I don't have a calendar in my phone. I have a paper calendar because I'm a visual learner. I memorize visually. And I feel like, we get so bogged down in the extra fluff. I mean, really, real estate is about relationships. And if somebody calls and says, hey, I'm on my work break. Are you available to go show this house? Well, yeah. I mean, that's what my job is because I can't work everybody's schedule around mine. I have to make sure I'm available. And I think that's what so many people get caught up on is, sure, I'll get up at 6 and I'm go, 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 go until I have to get in my first car line at 3:30 in the afternoon. Then I'm in the car lines committed to the kids, still taking calls. And then I work, a lot of time at night. Do I show houses a lot in the evenings anymore? No, because that's where I'm at in my business. On the weekends, yeah. But it just kind of evolved naturally. But, am I consistent in everything I do? No, because there's no consistency in real estate because it's constantly changing. Every contract's different and every buyer or seller's different.
And like you said, I've tried to do some time blocking, but I've run into that too, where it's like, okay, well, if I time block this in the morning, but then somebody calls and really wants to see a house and the market is super competitive, like, yeah, I got to put that aside and I got to go, if I want to give my client that possibly getting this house, like, I'm going to go. And I can attest, obviously, as a mom, like, I I love that you're including, yeah, like I'm in the car line and I've got to go do this and I've got to go do that and make dinner and do this stuff. I was joking. I sent a picture to Josh this morning because I was literally sitting on the couch. Jeremy was sitting in my lap. We were watching Curious George. I had my computer to the side and I was sending emails,
Yeah.
congrats, you're under contract or whatever. I was sending emails and I jokingly sent a text to Josh and I was like, man, this mom realtor life, but
Mm-hmm.
that's also like the life that I want. That's Real estate gives me the ability to be that for Jeremy and for our new baby that we're going to have and for
Absolutely.
too. So like I as much as we are kind of always on call, so to speak, like I also try to think of it as, yeah, but I used to be locked into a job that was 8 to 4 and there's no way
Yeah.
to do that and watch Curious George at 8.
No, no. And it's like if I want to go have lunch with one of the kids, or, like Lily 2 weeks ago called me, and because she tracks me on my phone, and she was like, "Hey, mom, where are you?" And I'm like, "At the car wash." And she said, "Well, we're at Chick-fil-A before we go work at Backpack Buddies," because she's an ambassador at Smoky Road. And she said, "Come eat lunch with us." And so if I worked an 8 to 5 job, I couldn't have just been like, "Okay, I'll go eat lunch with y'all." And I ended up buying all the kids a milkshake. And, it was so much fun. And so, it's just, and I think that's what real estate does, is it gives you the flexibility. Is it hard? Absolutely, because you're on call 24/7, but you're also able to still fill those gaps and make sure your family is still being attended to.
Yeah. When Josh and I first kind of started in real estate, we had a friend that encouraged us to kind of think about what our dream life looked like or what our like perfect day would look like. And I remember uh Josh wrote his out and did all this stuff and I just kind of like storyboarded mine, I guess. But I remember saying like my dream life personally would be when my kids call, I can drop everything and I can go help them with whatever or get them whatever they need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only been one time that Cadence has texted me to say, "Hey, I forgot my notebook at home. Can you bring it to me at school?"
Yeah.
Like they know that I'm at home and they know that I can help. In fact, Cadence was texting me just a second ago. But there's it's so nice and it's so freeing to know like I take Jeremy to preschool every morning. I pick him up at 12 and I fit in contracts and CMAs and calling clients and Jeremy came with me to an inspection yesterday at a house, but like it's just that
You
was
just
my
make it work. You just make it, I mean, you just make it work. And it's like, and my husband's a fireman, so he's gone every third day. And so it's, you just make it work. All three of them. I tell everybody all the time, I have the best three salesman assistants because they've literally been selling real estate their whole lives, like in the carrier, on the hip, me carrying them in my belly. And so, but it's just real estate's constantly evolving and you just got to ride the wave.
Hey,
Yep.
I got a question for you. All this sounds great, but now so we know it's fear. Now let's talk about that. How or organically, how do you get to that point where you've had great conversation, authentic conversation, because you really do care, but now it's time to create conversion or there's an opportunity there. Like, how do you move from friend, trusted person to now I'm their real estate agent? Like, how do you bridge from one to the other? Does it just happen that they come to you because you're their friend and they say, I've got a house? Or are you planting seeds at some point?
I still actively work my sphere of influence. Like, I send out letters, Christmas cards, but the information that I send out, it doesn't just say Pathfinder Realty all over it. Like, it doesn't scream real estate, because if everything you send out screams real estate, they're gonna throw it in the trash. So you got to be able to show them something, be it, "Hey, here's a picture of my family," or "How are you doing?" or an update on the market, or a Christmas card, or a 1 year anniversary card, or "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm going to send you a note." People still love tangible things, like something that truly authentically comes in the mail to them, or a text message that says, "Hey, you're on my mind, just thinking about you. Hope your family's doing great." And I think that's the world that we have gotten away from, that people are still yearning from or for, is just being intentional with the people that you're with or the people that you know.
Yep.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good. I was on mute. I think I forgot I was on mute for a second. Yeah, I think that is also something that we've definitely heard about in that handwritten note or that snail mail. Like, I guess the internet has become, electronic stuff has become so ingrained that it's actually really nice to get some snail mail and get a little card with your name on it, or get a card with your kid's name on it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so let's
And,
see.
and I'm gonna have to hop off in just a minute because I gotta go get these kids from school. I gotta drive from one side of the county to the other.
Hey,
Yeah,
can I ask a question? I wouldn't mind knowing it,
Hmm.
and then maybe we get to the end and see if anybody else has a question they want to throw on here. If you're gonna jet, if you had any advice, because we have a ton of agents, especially they're going to see the call, that are agents in their their first year through their third year. Like when you're looking back, is there any advice that you would not just give someone, but I guess if you could do something over, or if there's a mistake you made, or just something when you were getting off the ground, what would that be?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is you have to remember to just be true to yourself and remember what works for you. Like you have to think, why are my friends friends with me? What is it that draws people to me? Like so many times I see new agents trying to be somebody that they're not because they think that they're supposed to be this way. You can't come across as being more than what your neighbor is when you're trying to gain trust in somebody's business. You know, I think you just have to be true to yourself on what really works for you and who you are. And I can also, on a lady's standpoint, when you're taking business card pictures or you're doing videos of yourself or how you're carrying yourself, you've got to be very mindful of how you present yourself. Men, you don't have to worry about that as much, but like, it's a scary world. And sometimes I see women and I'm like, why are you portraying yourself the way that you are? Like, you have to still carry yourself with class. And I think that's the biggest downfall is I find that women are drawing too much attention to themselves on how they carry themselves. And I think that's one big thing that I wish was still taught, that it used to be taught back in the day when I was in real estate school, is we did an ethics of more so like how you carry yourself. What do you wear? How should you dress? How should you put yourself out on a video? And I think that can very well give the wrong impression. And I think that's something that you just have to be very mindful and careful of because it's a scary world out there right now.
so what is the most, this is kind of not going off topic, but kind of changing just a little bit, but what's the most unexpected deal that you've gotten from your sphere?
What's the what? I'm sorry.
Sorry, the most unexpected deal that you've ever gotten from your sphere.
Expect. I don't know. Because I guess every deal's unexpected, right? In a sense,
Mm-hmm.
if you
True.
think about it. Because like when the phone rings and somebody's like, "Hey Amy, I want to sell my property," or "Hey Amy, I want to go look at this piece of property I want to buy." Like, I guess until the phone rings, you really don't know who's going to call or to use you to sell or buy. So I guess for me, it's because you don't ever expect it. It's just, okay, here we go.
It's always like an excitement, like, oh, okay, yep, let's go, let's do
Yeah,
this.
I mean, it's like, there's no crystal ball to this business. Every contract's different, every buyer's different, every seller's different. I mean, every house is different. It's just like people, there's no, every contract is evolving and changing.
Well, Josh can attest to this, and this is just kind of like I'm just going to tell you this because this happens often, and Josh can back me up on this. But I know that like sometimes when I have tough days, when it's like you don't get that listing, or the person that you've been nurturing ends up, going with someone else, or an appraisal comes in low. Those bad days where like things happen. Some days, you kind of get down where it's like, oh my gosh, like what in the world am I doing something wrong? But sometimes I'll sit on the couch next to Josh and I'll just go, if this is happening to me, I bet it's happened to Aimee McBrier, and still in real estate. I was like, he hasn't quit yet. I was like, so that's kind of my, or I'll always say like, okay, so I'm gonna figure this out, because
Yeah.
if it is happening to me, in year 3 or whatever, I was like, I bet Amy's probably come across this a million times.
Yeah, I should have written a book by now of all the crazy things and the things that you're like, did that person just really say that to me? Or did that really just happen? Or let me tell you what I had to do to get this deal done. I mean, it's constant.
I remember you posting once that, and it wasn't even like I guess your sellers or your buyers were either moving, but there was a moving truck that literally like fell into a ditch. And so
Yes.
all of their furniture and stuff was like in a ditch in this
Oh,
truck.
yeah. Yeah, that happened. I mean,
And
I should really do like a blog post every day of this is what happened today, today's news in real estate.
yeah, yeah. Or
Well,
one of the like 365-day peel away calendars, like here's the crazy
Yeah,
that happened today.
right. Exactly. I could totally do that.
I love that.
Dakota, TJ, do you guys want to throw any questions at Amy? I know she's going to have to jet here in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll a quick question. Amy, thanks so much for coming on. It's always great to learn from somebody who's really crushing out there. And I've heard so much about you from Josh and Rachel. But my question is, I know you got to run, so I'll try to make it brief as possible. It's a two-part question. One, do you do any other lead generation besides your sphere? And within your sphere, like what are the things that you're super intentional about every single day? If you just pick one, since we don't have a lot of time, like what's your top thing you do every day with intention to take care of your sphere?
I mean, I guess like for me, you know, I nurture my sphere, but it's not like something that I'm not all about, I got to make 10 calls a day or I got to send so many emails a day. I mean, and I really think even when I first started selling real estate, I wasn't like that because like people are busy, and I think sometimes you can overcall, you can over quote unquote touch people, I guess, if you will. And so I just like for me, I work it enough, I
Mhm.
guess, so to speak. And I think my presence where I'm at in my circle kind of helps fill that up. And a lot of I mean, I'll be honest, like looking at my board where I have all my stuff like listed under contract, whatever. I mean, the majority of my business now is based off of referrals,
Mhm.
be it somebody I've sold a house to, bought a house from, um, or bought a house from me is what I mean, or like, hey, this person recommended you. So a lot of my business is off of that now. And what was your second
Cool.
question? I'm sorry.
I think you pretty much covered it, but I asked what other lead generation you do, but it's at this
Nothing.
point, yeah, it just sounds like. So what I'm hearing from you, which I love it, is like you just intuitively make friends with people,
Hmm.
and that's how you work your sphere, which I think a lot of people can get overthink, like, oh, I got to work my sphere, and like, what does that mean? First of all, like work and sphere, they don't necessarily, they shouldn't be really used in the same sentence.
No.
And I think you really separate the two. It's like, yeah, it's what I do for a living, but I'm helping people, and I'm just there for people, but it's not
Yeah.
really work. So I think if you pull that for everybody out there that's new or whatever, if you can take that work but out of the phrase, just say love on my sphere, take
Right.
care of my
Because then
sphere.
you're expecting something in return. And I
Yeah.
think that's what everybody gets bogged down in. Like, call with intention, reach out with intention. Don't expect something automatically in return. And I think that's what is taught now
Hmm.
is call, text, text, text. I mean, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I called, like I sent a message earlier. I haven't talked to the seller that I met with a month ago. And I was like, hey, had you on my mind today. Just wanted to call and touch base and see how things are going. And I mean, and that he's going to more remember than me where we at every day. And so I think you just
Mhm.
got to be very cognitive because everybody's busy right now. And I think like I said at the beginning, real estate is about relationship.
Mhm.
Realty is about relationship. And so many people, they forgot that when it's very easy.
Yeah, it is. It's like a friend group rather than
Yeah.
something you have to go to work for. Yeah. I gotcha.
And I think
Cool.
that's what it's more of a corporation business versus a relationship.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dakota, did you have anything that you wanted to ask? I know I want to keep, I think we said what, a 2:45 hard stop. I want to make sure I keep to that, Aimee.
You're good.
I keep my promises.
Deal.
No, I don't have anything at this time.
He's out in the middle of the land. That's where I want to be.
That's where I'm headed. I've got to go walk 100 acres at 4 o'clock. So
Whew.
I got to pick up a kid and then go walk 100 acres.
Let's go. Well, look, thank you for being here. We super, super appreciate it. You're a rock star. So Aimee is my
Thank you for
spirit
having
animal.
me.
I'm trying to be like Aimee. That's what I tell people. Just trying to be like Aimee.
Listen, Josh, so somebody asked me yesterday how I was, and I said, this is how I would like to put it. I have 10 hamster wheels going in my head, and I'm the only hamster. So I don't know if you really want to be like me.
Love
So,
it.
but no,
love
but
it.
thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right, team. Well, thanks for being here. Rachel, do you have anything to add before we head out?
Nope, just thank you for being here, and we're so excited to learn from you. And don't forget, if you are watching the replay of this video, that you can join our live sessions every Thursday at 2 p.m. by going to thereagenthive.com. And other than that, I think that's it.
Cool.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Have a
See
good
ya.
day.
Thanks, Aimee.